Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 547, The Fraudulency of Arsenal. Hello, Big Chillians. Welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, tell us about your softball losses this week.
Well, the batting 1,000 didn't last. I can tell you that. I think I had one hit across the two games and a walk, maybe two walks. And yeah, two losses. I did pitch 2 innings, only gave up 3 runs, which relatively speaking, pretty good, especially as in the first inning of that game, we gave up 16. So
great inning.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't help when, we don't have a huge number of players. So we had to rely on our 83-year-old pitcher to start that game off. So he gave up about, I think he went for 9 runs and only managed to get 1 out in that period. He took himself out once they'd completely gone round. They'd gone round their order and a couple more guys had got hits. And then a guy crushed a 3-run home run and he just walked off. Didn't announce really that he was subbing himself or anything. It just was. And then he sat on the sidelines and tried to calculate his ERA, which he put out over 200, I think, based on the 9 or 10 runs with a single out. So yeah, it wasn't the most spectacular performance. But I also had to call out the Venezuelan team that we played in that game, where one of the guys bunted against the 83-year-old pitcher, which was one of the most pathetic athletic performances I've ever seen. And I was playing first base, and when he got to first base, I told him that I was not impressed with the fact that he was bunting against an 83-year-old.
What was his response?
He was like, "Well, you got to play the game." They're
He's
very
wrong.
He's not wrong. But keep in mind here, he bunted. He was probably batting 7th. So they had already got 6 runs. They already had 6 runs on the board. They knew they were going to win at this point. So pulling out the bunt, and also there's not a lot of speed coming down. So even if you don't think you're exactly the best hitter ever, you should feel pretty confident. But they have a full-time coach. They give signals. So every guy in between every pitch steps out of the batter's box to check the signals coming from the third base coach, which again drove me insane. I told our team I was committed to the idea. That guy was the guy who bunted was playing first base. I said if I am at any point running towards first or rounding first, I was just going to truck him. I was hoping I was going to have I was hoping to get a close a bang bang play at first base where I could legitimately just try and run through him and not have it look like I was committing assault, but it didn't work out.
As a lefty, all you had to tell me is just pull it, and I would have taken his face off.
But yeah, it wasn't, and it got a little heated over the course of the game. Towards the end, one of our players was telling one of the opponents that he was happy to throw down if he wanted to. So it was
the 83-year-old pitcher.
No, tempers were a little bit frayed by the end.
Nice. Well, I spent my weekend, Eddie, dealing with the one of the perils of European society, and that is EasyJet.
Okay, I would advise avoiding EasyJet at all costs.
Yes,
but I understand sometimes you don't have a
sometimes it's
choice.
the only flight, and you don't got much of a choice. So I was booking a one-way flight through the EasyJet website. And when you pick the day, it gives you a 3-day spreadsheet kind of. And I really wasn't paying attention and thought that the one all the way to the left, the first one, would be the day. But it's not. They put the day you select in the middle and then give you the day before and the day after. So I really wasn't paying much attention and just clicked it because I thought, okay, that's that must be the day. Clicked it and then went through and booked it. And as soon as I booked it, I looked up at the date and then looked down at my sheet because I had written down like what day I needed to book and was like, oh shit. Now, most American airlines, if you make a mistake within like an hour, you can usually just get a full refund. They'll cancel it, no problem. EasyJet says, hey, you've got 24 hours to cancel your flight. And I'm like, oh, awesome. Click on it. It says, for a charge of 50 pounds, the whole flight is 70 pounds. So basically, I'm just getting charged 50 pounds for literally like just messing up 1 second. I mean, I noticed it within the minute. If you had timed how long, I probably could have canceled that flight before the minute. So
there's nothing worse.
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
This story is far from over. So I was really, really pissed at myself because I normally don't make these types of mistakes. I'm usually like really good with bookings and with everything. Like I can plan out trips pretty well. So I was just really upset and it was eating away at me. So I changed the flight, bit the bullet, paid the $50 because I know EasyJet is notoriously terrible to deal with from like a customer service standpoint. So I was like, I'm not even going to deal with like emailing them and arguing, like, fuck it, whatever. 50 pounds, it is what it is. So fast forward to the next day, and I have one other flight left to book, also a one-way, also significantly cheaper through EasyJet than anything else. So this time I say, fuck it, I'm not going through this piece of shit EasyJet website. I'll just go through Expedia and book it. Now, I had multiple tabs open that were Expedia for the same flight because I was comparing flights. I then decided on the one I wanted, booked it, but the way the tabs had my account signed in, it had progressed the wrong flight through. So as soon as I clicked like pay, and it was still coming up like do not click out of this browser, as soon as I saw it, I went, oh shit, I think this is the wrong one, and clicked out of the browser. That message is bullshit because that didn't work because I got charged again now, same day, but just the time was wrong. I'd picked the wrong time flight. So now I'm super frustrated because in 2 days, I'm now just going to be giving EasyJet 100 pounds for me just being stupid and trying to do things too quickly and not being like paying attention because I had like 20 tabs open. So now I'm like, no, fuck it. I'm digging in this time. So I go through Expedia and I call them again, like a minute into doing this. And I'm like, hey, I just booked this flight. Like, for some reason, whatever happened, like it had the time right, but then it switched it, I think, because I had too many tabs open, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I understand. Yeah, like that does happen occasionally. Like, I see you're calling, like you just booked this a minute ago. And I was like, yeah, I just fucking told you 10 seconds ago that I booked it a minute ago. Like, stay with me here. So they're like, all right, like since you just booked this, let me see what I can do and I'll try and cancel it for you. And then you can rebook the right time. I'm like, oh, awesome. 2 minutes pass, I come back. Yeah, so because it's EasyJet, we can't do anything. So you have to call EasyJet. So I'm like, oh, whatever. Like now I'm in, like, fine, fuck it. I'll call EasyJet. I call EasyJet. Time difference. They're not open. They're customer service. First off, they're not 24 hours. Second of all, they're not open because it's later here already. I call the next morning. I call them up. I'm like, hey, listen, I booked this through Expedia. I just booked the time wrong. Like, I want the same day, just the early flight. I tried to call right away. You guys weren't open. And the guy's like, okay, let me see. I can change that for you. And he's like, so he goes in. He goes, give me a few minutes. He goes for like 15 minutes. He comes back. He goes, so I can book you on the early flight, but it's a £50 charge to put you on. And I was like, come on, really? Like, and he's like, as a courtesy, I don't do this often, but like you sound like this was an honest mistake, so I'll waive the £50. And I'm like, oh, awesome! I genuinely appreciate that. Thank you. He's like, no problem. Puts me on the right flight. So now I'm kind of pissed because I think like had I done that the first time, I probably could have got that one waived too. But I'm like, whatever. I'm not gonna pick. Beggars can't be choosers. I'll take £50 over 100. 5 minutes later, I got a text from Verizon. You have used up your international phone calls and have a charge of $75. So just calling the customer service because those fuckers put me on a 15-minute wait. I ended up getting charged more by Verizon for resolving it than I did canceling it. So now I got to call Verizon.
Yeah,
that is still to be done.
Yeah, it's a
But
pretty
who
bad
has
mistake.
a customer service line that isn't like toll free? That's insane.
That's pretty common here in Europe.
I understand it's common in Europe because most European phones you can call anywhere. Like if you had a French phone, you could easily have called that and you wouldn't have been charged.
Well, I don't know. With the EasyJet, I probably would have been. I would guess.
Really?
It's probably just not a toll-free number. There are plenty of numbers here that for customer support. In France, I deal with ones. They're not super expensive. It'll be like 15 cents a minute or whatever. But you're right. Like a customer support call can last an hour.
Crazy.
If you really get in, and yeah, you can be. You might not. You could have a few euros racked up by the time someone even starts speaking with you. So. Yeah, I will say that's a pretty spectacular sequence of mistakes on your part.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think EasyJet is really at fault for any of that, but
no, they're not. They're not. It is my fault. But the $50 or £50 cancellation fee for canceling a minute after you accidentally book a flight, because obviously people must do that. Not routinely, but that definitely happens. People accidentally book a wrong flight and instantly realize, and not allowing people at least like a 30-minute window to make a change is insane.
If you recall, actually 1 year, I've made that mistake before. If you recall 1 year in the Ascot trip that we do, which involves some Eurostars, I had booked the Eurostar tickets for a month later, and we didn't realize that until the day we turned up at the train terminal. And it's like, oh, these tickets are not for the right day at all. So yeah, it is. If you're not paying attention, and because it's such a simple process, you don't feel like you need to be totally attentive, like going through picking, but it is pretty easy to, like, while you're looking at your options, to switch days or switch months or, do something stupid and then not realize until it's too late. And usually you do have the kind of instant realization, like as soon as the payment's gone through, which is one of the worst feelings. If you mess up any order or booking or something, it's like that moment. It always comes like, I should probably check this. I've made a very big mistake.
Yeah, definitely. So,
well, I didn't have to deal with customer support yesterday, though. After going out for some drinks after softball, did take a taxi ride home. And first time in a while, actually, I've taken like a real taxi in Paris and not an Uber or a Bolt or anything like that. Actually, like hailing a cab and getting in it. And the guy drove just going home, and he was like, "Okay, we're here." I was like, we're not here. This isn't. And then kind of got out because, sometimes when you're approaching something from a different angle, it's like, oh, we might just be like one street around, like just around the corner. We weren't miles away. I knew, he hadn't gone in the wrong direction. So I was like, okay, we actually might be pretty close. I kind of hopped out of the cab to kind of get my bearings, at which point I was like, it's like a 5-minute walk. So I'd rather you actually took us the full distance, please. And he was like, okay, yeah, you can just get back in. I'll drop you off. I kind of went to open the door, and he just sped off. You
should have held on.
And to be perfectly honest with you, it angered me so much that I seriously contemplated. I knew where the nearest taxi stand was going to be. I was like, there's a very high probability he's there. And if I'd seen it, I would have just ripped his wing mirror off. I was like so annoyed with him. It was just like, why on earth would you do it? Just if you'd even just told me it's a 5-minute walk, sorry, that would have been fine to me. The fact that you're like, yeah, hop back in. See ya.
I wish you were partially in. And he flew out of the taxi. That would have been so funny.
Yeah.
As you like rip his door panel off.
Yeah, it was
Wow. They should
mildly
call it
upsetting.
Easy Taxi.
Yeah. And no customer support number to call to complain. But where do we start then with various sporting updates and events? I actually, speaking
I
about complaining,
okay, go ahead.
I maybe have a topic that helps us transition into the world of sport, but also allows me to rant slightly about something. So I don't know if you've seen, but Bournemouth Premier League Football Club are having a documentary made, like one of the Follow the Team documentaries
Okay.
is coming out. So with a very also highly likely that it will feature Michael B. Jordan because he is an owner, like an investor in Bournemouth in this world that we're now creating where
Yeah, yeah.
every professional sports team has to have a famous actor or musician involved so that you can also get free promotion through their notoriety and existing social media channels. Burnley also have a documentary that will be
JJ
coming
Watt.
out that's followed them, but follow them this season. So we might get JJ Watt starting to appear, I guess, over the course of this season as he is kind of started to formalize his ties. But it was following their promotion back to the Premier League. I think I consume about as much sporting content and live sport as probably I'd go toe to toe with most people in the world in terms of just how much I consume. I don't think we need more inside team sports documentaries. I think just too much for me. Like who?
Yeah. I mean, I stopped watching Hard Knocks after like the fourth season because it just
Yeah,
became the same thing. They focus on the players that were being cut, one really, really quirky player. Like that was always they always had to have that guy who just had some really weird shit going on that they would like try and focus. And then obviously the head coach, but then also one of the assistants who is also quite quirky. Like that would be another thing. And then it got kind of boring after a while. Like, yeah, I get it. Athletes are dumb. Like you don't have to show this to me every week. Like,
no, and yeah, it's just it was a novelty to to be able to see inside how professional sports teams worked at first. Like, and that was cool because that kind of all access to the behind the scenes, and it's not really all access because it's obviously edited, and they're not going to put in from like if something was truly controversial or bad for them, they wouldn't be putting it in the documentary anyway. So if it were a live stream, I might get more on board with it. But I
do you
think
do you think the Last Dance really ruined this because
I think the
how
last
successful it was?
yeah, probably. I think everyone's now trying to recapture that magic, and you can't because that was access to the type of access we thought would never have been possible to that team and those like Michael Jordan and other legendary players who also had a very genuinely interesting set of personalities involved. And then also it came out right at the start of the pandemic, so people didn't have live sport in their lives, and also you just had this kind of semi literally captive audience who then everyone was watching it. I just think, I mean, if you're a Bournemouth fan or a Burnley supporter, then maybe this is interesting.
Yeah.
Like if they
So
did one
make
about
a YouTube channel.
yeah, if they did one about Blackburn, I'd of course watch it. But I have no interest in watching. Oh, let me see what Vincent Company is truly like as a manager. I don't need it.
I can I'd be interested for 20 minutes of that.
Sure, 20 minutes, and then now you've got another 20 episodes to go.
I've got a side question for you, actually. I was literally thinking about this the other day. We talk about Nepo babies. Do you think there's any reason for Michael B. Jordan's success in the fact that his name is Michael Jordan?
I think it helps. Yeah. I think it certainly helps you to remember. Like, I don't think I would have remembered him as well from The Wire or from Friday Night Lights had his name been Michael Smith.
Thomas J. Thompson.
Yeah, I think the Michael B. Jordan, and I also think, like, I'm sure he gets tired of being asked about it. I mean, I don't think that happens, but certainly early in his career, he was asked a lot about it. But yeah, I think I think having anything that just plants a seed in people's mind is beneficial. And for him, it was just easy to remember who he was because he shared his name with a super famous person.
Yeah, I really think it's slightly helped.
And he must have kind of thought the same, right? Because, okay, they threw the B in there for some distinction. But if you'd really thought that was going to hurt you in any way, you would have just changed your last name as, from an acting perspective, he would have Martin Sheened it. So, he could have gone by Michael B., you know, Jefferson, and no one would have ever thought anything of it.
Yeah.
But also talking then,
Oh,
I have,
I had a trivia question for you on Michael B. Jordan. You
okay,
know
go
his
for it.
first ever movie role.
I can't think of anything. I can't remember seeing him in anything before The Wire. So no, I can't. I can't remember the first movie I can that I actually. I'm assuming it was him. In is it? Okay, how old is he? So it'd be something mid to late '90s, a kids film. Is it
It is 2001.
2001? Is it like a kids movie? Not kids movie, but
Uh,
like in the
it
way that Mighty
features
Ducks would
children.
be. In
Yes.
the way that like Mighty Ducks would
Yes.
be a kids movie, not a.
It's a little more serious than I think the Mighty Ducks, but
Okay,
very similar, along very similar lines.
remember the Titans?
No, I'll give you the tagline from the movie poster.
Whatever.
The most important thing in life is showing up.
Most important thing in life is showing up. Nah, I've not got it.
In order to repay his debts, he is told by a corporate friend that he must coach a baseball team of troubled African American fifth grade kids from Chicago's ABLA housing projects.
I still can't get it.
Hardball! Come on, Keanu
Okay.
Reeves.
I don't think I've ever seen
It is
Hardball.
literally the Mighty Ducks baseball version.
Yeah, I've
Except
never
instead
seen
of, I think Emilio Estevez was drunk driving, and this is gambling debt.
Yes. Yeah, he had a DUI. Yeah. Um, but also staying on the theme then of ownerships, I've had my rants about Wrexham. Uh, I'm sure you saw that there's been a slight setback in Ryan Reynolds' attempts to expand his sporting empire because he's trying to get into the NHL, trying to buy the part of a group trying to buy the Ottawa Senators, and
Yeah.
their initial bid has failed. The thing that I find interesting about this is he's now open to the idea of joining some of the other consortiums that are trying to buy the team, and in the same way that I've probably had too much of the TV shows about sports teams, I think I've had too much now of sort of tagging on a celebrity as part of your attempts to buy a sports team. Like, and if Ryan is I will have had too much of Ryan Reynolds pretty soon. If this is now, I'm just going to have to live with, oh, and now Ryan Reynolds is also part of the group that just bought the Jacksonville Jaguars. And oh, Ryan Reynolds is now part of the group that just bought like Toulon Rugby Club. And if this is just what he's going to do every couple of years.
I also think it takes away from the Wrexham story as well.
Yeah, I think it takes it away from in two ways. One, because he's going to have to, if he is involved, he then has to, like, you kind of lose out because he has to promote both. And so if you're not sort of inherently interested in one of the sports, you now have to decide like which Ryan Reynolds sporting story am I going to follow. And also because, yes, this idea that they had to buy it because it was such a special and unique place, and like it's just like a kind of calling, and we wouldn't want to be anywhere else. It's like, well, but I also would like to have an NHL team, and hey, look, some Major League Baseball teams are coming up for sale. Why don't I get involved in that?
I don't
too?
know though. I can't really fault them because if I had enough money and I could have fun, one of the things I probably would do is just buy a bunch of different sports teams that you could go watch games whenever, like, be involved or uninvolved as you want. It's probably fun.
Yeah, but yes, no, I would probably do kind of the same thing. So I do agree. I can't be overly critical of him, but yeah, it just feels like there will be diminishing returns because like he's not going to have the same. You can't have the same level of impact every time you get involved in a project. Like at a certain moment, then I'm going to use the word novelty yet again in this episode, but the novelty of having like Ryan Reynolds' unique way of promoting something at a certain point it won't be unique because it's like, yeah, we've seen you do this. You sold us a mobile phone network, you sold us a gin, you sold us a football club. Now you're going to sell us like everything, and at a certain point we've had enough of Ryan Reynolds selling us stuff.
So Eddie, I would like to transition into the Premier League, and I have a question for you. So Arsenal lost to Brighton 3-0 this weekend, pretty much putting the nail in the coffin.
Frauds.
Wait, stop. Just let me finish here. Putting the nail in the coffin of any chance of winning the Premier League, which was pretty slim to begin with because they were giving a 4-point cushion to City. But my question to you now, this is, let's see, then in their last 7 matches, they have 2 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. So when it mattered most, they've kind of crumbled. My question, is this just them as a team kind of coming back to earth, kind of coming back to their average? And, we just saw just a weird version where they were kind of always winning, and now they're just coming back to their norm? Or is this demonstrating that they just don't have the experience or just the mental, I don't want to say capacity, but like the mental toughness to win when it matters most, and that they're just not suited to win these big matches under the bright lights like a team like City does, that they've done it before and they have the players that have done it before? What do you think?
I think it's both. I do legitimately feel like they're frauds at this point. I think they rode their luck for 80% of the season whenever they needed, to bounce the ball pretty much.
But that wouldn't define them as a fraud, though. Because a fraud would be a team that, like they looked like they were good, but then when they just played better teams, they weren't. This seems to me, I'm leaning more towards the second, where they're just not, they can't handle the pressure.
No, it's more than that.
That's not being a fraud.
No, because I think they also looked like they were good and they weren't. I think I think Arsenal are probably the 6th best team in the Premier League.
Oh man!
I think
shots fired.
I genuinely think United are better than them. I think Newcastle are better than them. I think Liverpool are better than them. City are obviously better than them. So, and then after that, I don't think there's much difference between. I don't think there's much difference.
I mean, they did just beat Newcastle last week.
Yeah, they did, but I don't think Brighton are better than them. But Brighton just wiped the floor with them. And and you could make a case that, I don't think there's actually a huge difference in a lot of respects between Brighton and Arsenal. But I think they are, and the reason why I really think they're frauds is because we've had to live for 7 months with Arsenal fans telling us, no, we really are this good. And also, every Arsenal fan I know, pretty much, without exception, has also not only told me they really are this good, but also said, I had a feeling we weren't that far away. I did think, a couple of, 2 or 3 additions to the squad, we have these young players, they were going to make the leap at some point, and Arteta's just such a good manager. Like, even last season, you could kind of see it building. You could see it there. I don't think they'll be in the Champions League. I don't think they'll finish in the top 4 next season. Wow. I think this is it. Arsenal fans, hope you enjoyed it. This was it. We'll see you again in 20 years. It was nice having you there. Before we know it, Saka will sign somewhere else. Look forward to watching him play for Manchester City or Manchester United or someone else in 3 seasons time. Odegaard will probably go back to Real Madrid or somewhere. It'll be cool, and you'll have all these other young players you kept telling us were super exciting. They'll just be bang average Premier League players who help you finish 5th or 6th. This is it.
Already predictions for next year.
Yeah, I'll make this other really bold prediction. Manchester City will win the Premier League next season. Let's just go ahead and lock in City win the league next season, and Arsenal out of the top 4. And
replaced by Liverpool?
Yeah. I'm not willing to say I'm going to put Newcastle in the top 4 next season just yet. I want to see what they do in the summer. And I'd also want to see what Chelsea, and in particular Chelsea, because I'm willing with Chelsea to say that this season was just a complete nightmare for them, and that they've made tons of mistakes, and they signed too many players. They've changed their manager too many times. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. I'm willing to believe that, given a complete off-season to prepare, to get rid of some of the dead wood that's in their squad, to kind of have a manager in place who can put a real plan, a real tactic, a real style there, and who's competent. So if that's Pochettino, for example, to do that, I'm willing to believe that Chelsea could be in the top 4 next season. It is more likely for me, that Chelsea finish in the top 4 than Arsenal finish within 15 points of first.
Well, Chelsea do have a game in hand, but what's just as the table is now, how many teams have scored less Premier League goals than Chelsea this season?
Oh gosh. So Southampton, definitely.
Southampton, yes. So Chelsea have 36.
Yeah, which is not many.
Southampton have 31.
I've got the feeling that Leeds have probably scored more goals than them. That's a nod from Frank.
Significant.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. It's not going to be many have scored. I'll say.
So far, we got one team that scored less.
I'll say Everton have scored fewer goals.
Everton, yes, 32 goals. Are there any more?
Trying to think teams at the bottom. I'm assuming Leicester have scored more goals. I think Everton. I think West Ham will have definitely scored more goals.
Barely.
Nottingham Forest is a tricky one. I'll say they scored less.
They scored the same.
Okay.
So I'll give you that.
And Chelsea have a game in hand.
Yeah.
Okay, so
which means fucking nothing.
No, if they can get a goal, then who?
They could, but will they?
Wolves haven't scored many goals. They don't concede a lot, but they've
only scored 30.
Yeah. And that's got to be it, because
that's
pretty
it.
much every team above them must have scored.
3 clubs have scored less, maybe 4.
Yeah. No, I mean there are real issues there for sure, but there's just so much money, and there are talented players within that squad, and more talent will come. So I think they're not going to be this bad next season, put it that way. And they're going to benefit from the thing that Arsenal benefited from this year. And we've mentioned it on the podcast previously, and I do not think people place enough, it gets discussed, but certainly in the second half of the season, I don't think people place enough significance on the fact that not playing Champions League football makes it easier for you in the league, because you can happily play a B team in other European competitions without your fans being too critical. No one really cares. Like when Arsenal were knocked out of the Europa League, no one cared. You're not going to be criticized for losing to a team that you probably shouldn't have lost to. And it's a huge advantage to not have those added challenging fixtures, to not have to play your best players in midweek games. And, I think that's what's so impressive about what City are doing at the moment, It's with having to rotate their squad a bit. You know, the team that played this weekend was radically different from the team that played against Real Madrid, and they don't miss a beat. You know, I said, when you asked me, you know, could they slip up? I said the only way I could see it is if like the matches when Kevin De Bruyne doesn't play, and they sometimes look a little bit disjointed as a result, and you know he wasn't there, he wasn't starting, and they looked fine. So, and now you have to assume, like, I mean, they could play any, they can rest them all. Like Erling Haaland probably doesn't need to play another Premier League match this season. So, you know, I'm sure he will, but it's it's just kind of pathetic in the end. The fact that we now got City just walking, and I will also, and it's something you also said multiple times. We also don't give enough credit to City for multiple years in a row and Liverpool in previous seasons for just getting into the final 10, 11 matches of the season and just winning them all. Because it looks so easy, and on paper they should do it. But history would tell us that's not what teams used to do. Teams used to do what Arsenal were doing. It's just that Arsenal would have probably got away with it in 15 years ago because the team they were up against would have also slipped up multiple times. And in the case of Arsenal this year, not only has it seen them blow their lead, it's seen them now multiple points behind City. And City do, like get a on paper tricky fixture against Chelsea this weekend, and it just doesn't matter.
No,
it doesn't matter at all to them, because I also don't think Arsenal are going to win all of their remaining matches anyway. So, do City need even another point to win the league? No. Who knows?
Maybe not.
Yeah.
So I saw a pretty good stats, I should say, with City about to win the league. That would mean Phil Foden will be a 5-time Premier League winner at age 23.
Wow. That's incredible. Because then
you think that's incredible until I tell you this one, which I know you're not going to like as much because you think so highly of the Premier League versus other leagues.
Yeah.
But Kingsley Coman,
with Bayern Munich,
27 years old, has never lost a league title in his career since 2012.
Yeah, it's not as impressive. It's still very cool, but it's not as impressive.
So if Bayern Munich can win, that'll be his 11th straight league title. He has never lost since he's moved into the top tier.
Yeah, it's very cool, and to be able to say that is impressive. But yeah, it's not this, because I mean, then the question I'd say, what's the over under then on how many Premier League titles Phil Foden wins over the course of his career? You have to.
I don't see him ever leaving City.
So he's 20
until he can no longer
perform at that level.
Cope.
So he's 23. You'd have to set the over under
30.
You'd have to set the over under at least 5.5.
What? More years he plays,
more Premier League,
more years they win.
More Premier League title he wins. Not
I would say 10. Does he get to 10?
Well, that's 5.5, right? Because he's won 5, yeah. So that would say, does he win? It's like, I'm saying, does he get to 11? I think because he certainly wins at least 3 more.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The thing that could get in is, I mean, he could leave. I could see a scenario where he gets a big transfer to Spain or something, because he's that type of player that could interest some big European clubs. I could see a situation in which he just, for whatever reason, I mean, if he went anywhere else,
he fits the system so well, though.
He does, and if he went anywhere else in the Premier League, you'd have to assume that team then has overtaken City almost. So that would still bode well for him winning if he, for whatever reason, decided it's time for me to go and join Chelsea, then that would mean Chelsea have made significant strides, because he's not going to go there to finish 6th.
Now, do you think? I mean, this is a great example to me as a player. do you think he ever thinks all I care about is winning these Premier League titles, or I am being slightly overshadowed here with how much depth and talent they have? When you think of like, oh, City won another title, he's not the top 2 or 3 names that come to mind.
No, I mean, he doesn't.
Maybe he's number 3.
No, I mean, certainly not this season. So, name number 1 is Holland, right? Name number 2 would be De Bruyne. After that, there'd be a bunch of players, but I think
you can make a case.
I think Grealish is.
You
almost,
make a case for him.
I don't think so.
I obviously say Grealish, but
I think
I wouldn't be shocked if you said his name. I'll put it that way.
So I think you'd definitely say this season, City's success, you'd give Grealish more credit. I think you'd give
Mahrez.
I think they'd be on. I think you'd get above. I think Bernardo Silva would.
Okay.
Rodri maybe. You'd probably also say, and then the defensive questions become. I think John Stones. Probably people would give more.
No one cares about defense.
Would probably give more credit to, and defensively, that's probably it. Just because they've chopped and changed. Like Kyle Walker hasn't been fit the entire season. Maybe Ruben Diaz, but I think it's such a. I think Foden would be like 8th or 9th on the how important was he to City this season, and I don't even think that's correct. I think that's where the average person would put him, but based on the fact that he's been in and out of the squad, and they have other players who, whilst I don't think they are as good as him, can kind of fill that role. The honest assessment is probably like 15th or 16th. I mean, Ederson kind of realistically has to be above him. It's just you don't feel like with City that the goalkeeper is as crucial because, it's hard to say, well, they won 3-0. The goalkeeper was so important. Like, there's just not as many moments where you feel like he's putting in match-winning performances. It's not really his fault, though.
So I guess getting back to the question then, do you think that bothers him?
He doesn't seem like the type of person, but I think most people, we all have ego, right? And even if you are the biggest team player, and even if you think that the way you want your career to be measured is in terms of real achievements and success that are done as a team on a team basis and not on an individual basis, because fundamentally most of your individual achievements sort of get forgotten over time. Like, people do just remember, how many Premier League titles did you win? How many Champions Leagues did you win? Like, those are the questions that most people you kind of go to first when they are thinking about greatness. Even if you take, at some point in time, everyone kind of wants to be a star, right? Like, even if that star is, I want to have assists, or I think he'd be frustrated probably that he's not playing as much as he probably would have hoped or expected. He probably then fears that, like the development of Jack Grealish, not only is Grealish kind of keeping him out of the City squad, Grealish could keep him out of the England squad, like like starting for England. Because as in the same way that City have so many talented wide players and fundamentally almost too many, England also do as well. And if he's not starting for City, how are you going to then start him for England?
So you think he's going to switch countries?
Yeah, that ship has sailed for him, fortunately, from an England fan perspective. But yeah, I think it frustrated Sterling, right? Like, part of the reason why Sterling left, Sterling was frustrated that in his final season, he wasn't the, first player on the team sheet anymore. He wasn't the, I know I'm going to be playing in all the big games. Like, it's got to be tough in a way to be watching City play, like go to the Bernabeu and play against Real Madrid and not be one of the players who's starting there. Like, those are the matches you want to be involved in. Yeah. Or like there's a good chance they're going to be in the Champions League final. If you're not starting that match, it's going to frustrate you.
But the alternative is to not even be in the match.
Yeah, and
right, and that's such a tough thing to weigh. Would you rather be there, but maybe have 15 minutes of a potential impact, or not be there, but have lost in the quarterfinals and played all 90.
Yeah, well, I mean, here, get to the end of this season. Let's say City have won the treble. Who would you rather be at the end of this season? Saka or Foden? One of them has been probably the most important player for a team that has seemingly overachieved and had all the accolades thrown.
Yeah, just throw it in there.
Had all the accolades thrown his way over the course of that season about how much he's developed, how amazing he is, how he's one of the world's best players, one of the brightest talents in world football, gets everything, regularly scores goals, regularly gets assists, regularly puts in match-winning performances, gets all of the attention that comes with that. And then the other one would be a player who probably didn't play as much as he would have thought or hoped, didn't do as much on the pitch as he would have thought or hoped, but is a treble winner. Like, some people would choose Saka, some people would choose Foden. I think I'd probably rather be Saka, to be perfectly honest. Fine.
Yeah.
But then part of that would be I would be thinking to myself, at some point I'll win things, which might not happen. If you get to the end of your career and you've had the Saka type career but never won anything, then you probably would have rather been Foden. Like, would you want to be Charles Barkley, or do you want to be, like you think of that TNT panel, Kenny Smith, who has 2 NBA titles.
I'd rather be Barkley.
I'd rather be Barkley because he's just more interesting. But you know what I mean? And Kenny Smith is not a good comparison in a sense because he just he's not as famous or as good. Like, he was a bit part player, where at least with like the Saka Foden comparison, you're talking about 2 of the best young players in world football.
Steve Kerr.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, Steve Kerr, or yeah. Who would you rather be?
Charles Barkley.
So I'd probably rather be Steve Kerr. I'd probably rather be able to point to my game-winning shot in an NBA Finals over I was the best player on my team most seasons. But who knows? And look, Saka hopefully wins something at some point, because hopefully at least does it for England. Speaking of titles, fresh on the heels of Napoli wrapping up Serie A, I guess we have to mention that Barcelona wrapped up La Liga yesterday with a win over Espanyol, which I suppose for them is a pretty satisfying in the Barcelona derby to be able to win. Some people say it's their fiercest rivals, but realistically, I think Real Madrid are their fiercest rivals. So, but certainly against your local rivals, nice way to win it. So, one more European League title race.
I was to say, it's not secured. It's the Bundesliga.
No, but and it's so strange because Dortmund slipped up when they kind of got their noses in front, immediately slipped up. And then since then, they look like a runaway train. They're unstoppable now. But now they need Bayern Munich to make another mistake.
Well, who also just won 6-0. So.
Yeah, and you just feel like Dortmund missed their chance. That 0-0 draw in that Friday night match. I can't remember who it was against now. But then that was their chance. And now, now we're going to... I think you'd now expect Dortmund to win all of their remaining fixtures, and Bayern Munich will win all of their remaining fixtures, and Bayern Munich will just sneak another Bundesliga.
Yeah. Or did I just Duca curse them with Kingsley Coman?
It's true. They got to factor that in. If Bayern Munich are going to slip up this weekend, I think is probably the likely place. Can't remember their fixtures off by heart, but I think this is probably their toughest remaining fixture. They are at home to Leipzig, so who are third in the table. So that's as tough as it's going to get for them. So if you're a Dortmund supporter, or if you just don't want Bayern Munich to win another Bundesliga, then I think you're putting almost all your hopes in Leipzig to be able to get something from that match, which is a little bit ironic because of Leipzig are one of the most unpopular teams in the Bundesliga because of the fact that they don't have, we spoke about that 50+1 rule. They kind of work their way around that fan ownership. So, they're mostly hated, but I guess there's probably a lot of German football fans who are now hoping that they do something for the the good of the Bundesliga. Now, which sport do we go to from here? We've got a couple of options, I suppose. We can dip our toes back into the NBA, a topic that we rarely discuss. This time, not really to talk about the playoffs, which now are set for the Western and Eastern Conference
Oh,
Finals, but
I forgot about
Ja
this.
Morant, who, having been suspended a couple of months ago for having a video emerge of him kind of throwing a gun around,
Use a better word. Brandishing
brandishing a
a
gun.
firearm.
Now other videos come out of him brandishing a firearm. How dumb do you have to be? I just don't get it.
No, Eddie. Stephen A. Smith knows from the circles that he talks to that he is highly, highly intelligent. That is what Stephen A. Smith said about Ja Morant.
It's funny, because no one ever comes out and says, I've spoken to people who are around him, and
He is highly, highly
he's an
dumb.
idiot. Never comes out. And it also it is annoying that as part of any criticism, like there's no way to not be critical. Like what he's done, there's no other side of the story, right? It's not one of those, well, yeah, but look at his from his perspective, or it's easy to make mistakes, or haven't we all done that or been there or whatever. Still, every bit of criticism has to come with some compliment because no one's willing to burn every bridge. So it can't just be like, this is totally unacceptable. I actually don't think he should play another NBA game again in his career. It has to be like, no, he's a really smart guy, really like upstanding. It's just this one element of his personal life. He's probably just surrounded by the wrong people. It's not him, it's all the people around him.
So isn't he dumb for surrounding himself with the
Yeah,
wrong
just
people?
just bad life choices, comes from
Yeah.
like the usual excuses, which maybe like fool me once with the first video, and especially 2 months later to have the second video come out. It's like, okay, you learned. I mean, I read one article in the Athletic about it, which was like all Ja Morant had to do from the first gun video was learn a lesson, and it's the only thing he's failed to do. And it's true. It's like true. It's
Within a
yeah,
month.
it's like impossible. He clearly hasn't walked away from that and thought, I better keep my head down for a little bit, or I need to really go away in this offseason and work hard because, I was such a popular player. Now a lot of people won't like me. I need to make a great impression next season. Like, let's try and really focus on the important things. Nope, just in a car with a gun.
Yeah. Just doesn't make sense. Like,
I can't get it.
you can't be highly, highly intelligent and fail that quickly.
Because it would be dumb of him just to still have a gun. That alone would be stupid. But how you're getting yourself recorded and having it posted to social media, that's even like that is the dumbest part of it. Like that's
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. But it will be interesting to see what his punishment is like. Obviously, first time around it was an 8-game suspension, which realistically was a 6-game suspension because the Grizzlies had sort of suspended him internally for the first 2 games, and the NBA suspension only came in afterwards. So it was an 8-game suspension. It cost him $600,000 based on the paychecks he missed.
Calvin Ridley suspended a whole season when he was out for a season and bet on games that he had no participation in a world where gambling is not illegal in any way, shape, or form.
And it was like
he got a whole season.
It was like a $1,200 bet, right? It wasn't even a sizable chunk.
Ja Morant has now twice brandished a firearm on live videos.
No, I think the suspension. I mean, I personally, I'd be disappointed if the suspension is anything less than a season. But realistically, I don't expect it will be that. I think he'll get like
half a season,
maybe, like 40 games. I just, and I don't know. And then also, I do feel sympathetic for the plight and the position this puts the Memphis Grizzlies in, because we all want to be super principled when we're not really involved. But the reality
They just signed
Yeah,
him.
the reality is he's one of the most talented young players in the NBA. He seemingly loves being in Memphis and playing for Memphis, which, it's not the type of market that's going to easily attract free agents and superstar players. So when you have one who enjoys being there, you kind of have to do everything you can to hold on to them. So it puts them in a really tough spot in that I'm sure there's plenty of people there having meetings of like, we would love to make an example of him and really punish him in the way that we think we should, but for the good,
Nah, they'll Cleveland Brown
yeah,
it.
but for the good of the team, we want Ja Morant to play the rest of his career for the Memphis Grizzlies and play as many games as possible. And so I am sympathetic. If I were a Grizzlies fan, I don't know how I'd feel. Like, I'd love it if they threw the book. I'd love it if this was the last time we ever saw Ja Morant in the NBA. But he's too good of a player for that. Speaking, one other little NBA update. LeBron James, in a career full of records and record-breaking achievements, became the first player in the NBA, in NBA history, to make an all-NBA team in his 20th season or later. Fairly specific statistic because the list of players to have played 20 NBA seasons already makes it a relatively short list. And then to have made the all-NBA list during that time, but I mean, it's still a phenomenal achievement.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that he's been playing that long. I remember when he was in high school.
Yeah, because we were in high school. I mean, that's the reality, right? Like, I remember it because that's where I was. Speaking of notable achievements, one of your favorite players from recent NFL seasons, a player you'd love to be publicly critical of on this podcast, not for his off the field activities or who he was, but because of his terrible play. I'll give you a clue. Former Denver Bronco quarterback.
Tim Tebow? Russell Wilson?
Recent seasons.
No, I know. The worst QB in the planet, Drew Lock.
No, actually, it's with you saying Drew Lock shows how many bad quarterbacks the Denver Broncos have had. Paxton Lynch.
Oh,
this weekend he was benched in the XFL, which means he has the unique achievement of having been benched in the NFL, USFL, CFL, and XFL.
that's awesome.
Yeah. He's just running through the leagues and losing his job in the process.
You know what? He's probably laughing all the way to the bank.
Oh no, sure, yeah, he's done better than either you or I, but he's running out of options pretty quickly. I mean, that leaves him. He's still got. So right now, you've got the XFL, and you have what's the other football league?
This USFL.
No, he's been benched from that already, so he doesn't have that one left. Oh, so he's arena football. Yeah, that's where he's got to go next.
That's pretty funny. I thought you were going to talk about another quarterback who made an announcement, and that is Matt Ryan. Did you see this one?
I did not.
Matt Ryan joining CBS Sports as an analyst.
Oh, really?
Yep. He's going to be a studio and game analyst across all CBS Sports platforms. He posted it in Twitter and said, P.S. This is not a retirement post. Winky face emoji.
I will say, I think he'll be good. I actually think he's got a bit of like as far as professional athletes go.
You look at his face though, and it looks like he's got nothing.
No, he looks like he should have he looks like a finance bro. Like he'd have a gilet on and be working on Wall Street and be, telling you about how great his bonus was this year. Like he does look annoying, but at the same time, he does have a bit of personality about him. I don't think he'll just be a piece of cardboard up there. I think he'll be able to do something relatively interesting.
I mean, in February, he said he's still got a lot of good football left in him. But I guess he meant announcing.
Watching. Same. Yeah. Me too. Now, speaking of the Broncos, how long do you give? I'm amazed, actually. We didn't really speak about it when we were discussing the draft, but Riley Moss, who's getting a lot of attention as, he's a rare, previously thought of to be extinct white cornerback in the NFL. It's it's I think probably if you'd asked us 12 months ago, I think both of us would have probably bet heavily on there will never be another white cornerback in our lifetimes.
Did you see his comparisons? Was Jason Sehorn?
Yeah. Do you think he starts, and do you think he stays as a cornerback, or will this be like a transition to being a safety, which we see far more white safeties than, well, we never see white corners? What are your career predictions and projections for Riley Moss? Like, you got a panicked look on your face. I'm sure he's not really on your radar in terms of the draft research that you did, but just a gut feeling. What do you think? Will we see him establish himself as a white corner in the NFL?
I mean, he's good enough. He's good enough. I don't think.
Well, I wasn't
put color
I wasn't
into it.
asking for you to try and be. Oh yeah, we want to be, but you know what I mean, though. History would tell us the odds are.
I'm trying to look up his combine stats so I can get a better idea here. Okay, here I got his stats up. So he was a 3rd round draft pick by the Broncos. He ran a 4.45 40, 39-inch vertical, and a 10.7 broad jump. Not bad.
He gets the Duke.
4.45 is pretty fast. He didn't do any of the benching or anything like that, so we don't know how weak he is. He looks like he could be a serial killer, but that's a different story for a different day.
Is that the thing that's going to derail his career? Is that your prediction?
Yeah, that hair might. No, actually not. I have seen him play, actually, because he played for Iowa, and I've watched a few of their games. Nothing standoutish. I think he'll be okay. I think one of the main things for cornerback is the speed. Like, you can't be running a 4.5 as a cornerback. You have to be in the 4.4 range. So at least he's got that going for him.
We'll see. At least he'll be easy to spot.
Yeah, he'll be the one who looks like a serial killer.
What else do we have from the world?
I've got I can test your non-sports knowledge a little if you want.
Let's go for it.
Okay. So this was brought to my attention by a movie podcast I listened to. But the National Research Group conducted a nationwide survey asking people to name up to 5 actors or actresses, but called actors, that would make them most interested in seeing a movie in a theater. They then compiled that list. 2 questions. Would you rather guess who's on the list, or would you rather me read the names and you tell me if you would see a movie with them?
So I'll do one guess, and then you can just tell me the names. My only guess as to who should be the absolute number one. Both.
Wait. Are you guessing it from your perspective or what you think?
I'm saying this person should. I think this person should absolutely be number one, and I also believe this person is number one.
I don't think it's going to be. That's
fine. But I'm going to say Tom Cruise.
Oh, number one.
I think anyone saying anything other than Tom Cruise, just based on the draw that we've seen he's had, and just the types of movies he gets into, which are the types of movies you probably want to see in a movie theater, which is like a consideration you have to have if you're, answering this. If you're answering these questions realistically, you're not like, well, I love this actor who's in these like art house movies, like that's just.
Which I thought that was going to be your number one guess.
I'm smart. All right.
Do you want to make any other guesses of who's on the list? I can just read
I would say The Rock. Well, Dwayne
number
Johnson.
2.
How deep are we going on the list?
20.
So
they
let's
did 20.
Say the top 10. Who else would be in there? Got to do quick thinking. Denzel Washington.
Number 5.
Oh gosh, got to think a little bit like action movie. And then try not to think too much of like who's popular, because there's a temptation in a sense to almost like Pedro Pascal is like everywhere at the moment. So there's a temptation, but I don't think he would be. I don't think he's the right answer.
Yeah. Also not movies.
No, but he is in some big ones.
Wonder Woman 2.
Yeah, female. Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson is not on that list.
All right, then I've tapped out. I went for the...
Okay. Tom Cruise, The Rock, number 2. Number 3, Tom Hanks.
Oh.
Number 4, Brad Pitt. Number 5, Denzel Washington. Number 6, Julia Roberts. Number 7, I'll Smack You Smith. Number 8, Leonardo DiCaprio. Number 9, Johnny Depp. Number 10, Kevin Hart.
People are lying. Either to themselves or to whoever was giving the survey, because like...
Who? For who? Who do you think?
I think people are lying about Tom Hanks. I think if that were the...
No, I think that's wrong. A Man Called Otto. Have you seen how much money that movie has made? It's about a grumpy old white man, and it's made like a crazy amount of money in theaters.
That's fair. Although there's not a lot of movies out at the moment.
I do think there is an older generation who will go see Tom Hanks movies.
The one that really stood out to me. Say the list again quickly.
Brad Pitt, Denzel Washington, Julia Roberts, Will Smith, Leo, Depp, or
Brad Pitt. People are lying because like how many?
He doesn't even play leading roles.
How many people do you
anymore.
know who saw Bullet Train or whatever that movie was? Like that didn't draw people in. Julia Roberts, or people are like, I don't even. Is Julia Roberts still alive? I don't mean that as like.
Yes.
Genuinely, is Julia Roberts ever going to be in a movie? What was the last movie Julia Roberts was in? I'm not saying that doesn't mean that she can't be a right answer, because someone could genuinely say Julia Roberts hasn't been in a movie since 2009. So if she made another movie, I absolutely would go and see it. But I can't remember the last thing. I feel like the last thing Julia Roberts was in was like an Ocean's 13 or whatever it was.
She was in Ticket to Paradise in 2022, and then Ben is Back in 2018. So not much in the last.
I haven't heard of either, and I bet you they didn't put.
Ticket to Paradise is her and George Clooney.
Oh, okay, yeah, I did hear about that one, and they like lived together for a while and stuff, and they did all their like cutesy interviews about how she wanted to adopt him or whatever.
I thought you were going to say Leo, because I think in terms of when you think of an actor who will put out a good movie, chances are very high that if Leonardo DiCaprio is starring in a movie, it's going to be a good movie.
Yeah.
But again, you are right in the sense that that might not be a movie you want to go to the theater.
Because like an honest answer would be like Jason Statham, because he's going to be in the types of movies you go to the movie theater to see. So if you like that type of movie, or if you like Jason Statham, he is more likely to like bring you back to a movie theater.
I mean, Johnny Depp being on that list, I think, is blasphemy. That guy hasn't had a good movie in 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, certainly no real hits. I can't think of... I don't think I've ever seen a Johnny Depp movie in a movie theater. It actually would be interesting on that list. I don't know how many of those people I've seen a movie of theirs in a movie theater. I've never seen a Rock movie in a movie theater. I've seen a Tom Cruise.
Never seen The Fast?
Not in the movie.
Well, he's not in them anymore, I guess.
I'm not in the movie theater. No. I've seen it. Go back through the list really quickly, and I'll just give a yes, no. Have I seen a movie of theirs?
Tom Cruise.
Yes.
The Rock.
No.
Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Brad Pitt.
Yes.
Denzel.
Yes.
Julia Roberts.
I think no.
You didn't see Ocean's 12 in theaters?
No. No, and most of her movies are kind of like, I would have obviously, had I been of a different age group, seen Pretty Woman in a movie theater, but I wasn't going to go and see whenever that was like 5. I wasn't the movie my parents were taking me to see.
Will Smith.
Yes.
Leo.
Yes.
Johnny Depp.
No.
Kevin Hart.
No. I don't think I've properly ever seen a Kevin Hart movie. I've seen bits of them. Like I've seen bits of the Jumanji, the new Jumanji.
I might have seen Jumanji in theaters.
That's insane.
It was a low time for movies.
Speaking of Kevin Hart, after the Celtics eliminated the 76ers last night in the NBA playoffs, Jason Tatum, who had a standout performance in the game, said, "Special shout out to Kevin Hart. I want to see him. I want him to still answer my phone calls even after today. No hard feelings." Obviously, he's
no hard or heart feelings.
No hard. He didn't go for a pun. Good. Yeah, because obviously he is, one of these
Sixers fan.
Philadelphia fans. But there seem to be a lot of famous people from Philadelphia do a very good job of attaching themselves to the sports teams. It kind of bothers.
There's nothing else to attach to because Philadelphia sucks as a city.
It just kind of bothers me. As like, why is that even a consideration? You know what I mean? Like, it just makes famous people and athletes like look like such massive suck ups. Could you imagine Michael Jordan eliminating a team from the playoffs and being like, special shout out to Denzel Washington. I still hope he'll like answer my like beeper messages or whatever the fuck he would have said in 1991. So, anything else?
No, not particularly.
You can be proud of me. I did watch another hockey game. I did watch.
Which one?
I did watch Toronto get eliminated from Stanley Cup playoffs.
That hurt so much.
I even, to show how much I watched that game, I started watching that game in the third period. So they were 2-1 down. They scored to make it 2-2. And I watched all of the third period. And I watched all of overtime. I even had to switch channels because the channel I was watching switched from their game to like the Dallas Stars game. No, to like the pre-Dallas Stars game, which is insane to me. Like, even if that's scheduled, I don't know how. And I know that the issue with
they don't do it in the US. They like put the other game on a different channel.
But this blew my mind that this happened.
That's crazy.
And I get it because NHL hockey playoffs, like overtimes, can last a while, even though it's next goal wins. And it did take a bit. I mean, it did take what probably added up to like 15 minutes of actual like real time. But even so, couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that game hurt. They should have won that game, the Leafs, especially in the beginning of overtime. They were dominating overtime, and then they got that stupid penalty, and that just completely changed the game. It's one of those penalties where like it is the rule, but it's very wishy-washy. For those who didn't watch the ruling, like you can't put the puck out of play in your own zone. That's a penalty for delay of game. The puck was bounced up into midair and he like swiped at it and it hit his stick and went out of play in midair. So technically he's still in the zone, so it's a penalty. But like when the puck isn't on the ground, it's really hard to try and put a puck out of play when you're swatting at it in midair.
And for our listeners who really, really don't understand by what you mean by out of play, it's like over the boards.
Yeah, over the boards, out of the ring.
Yeah, completely. Play. Yeah, because I think for a lot of people, it's even difficult to imagine what out of play in hockey really means.
Yeah, that's a tough. And then that just completely changed the game after that. Like the fact that it even held on from there was impressive, but they just lost momentum.
Speaking of Will Smith movies, though, I don't think I mentioned this on the podcast that I watched his. Did I mention that I watched his new movie that's on Apple TV?
Oh God, no!
Emancipation.
The one he directed as well, or wrote, or produced, or something as well.
No idea. I didn't know anything about it other than it was like the Will Smith slave movie. This is all I kind of knew going into it. One of the worst movies I've watched in a long time. So boring. And I understand that it is a period in history and a topic that deserves considerable attention, and it's, nice to see things made about it, because sometimes it's easy to just, forget certain moments in history, especially when they're kind of uncomfortable. If you're going to make a movie about what is, though, quite a well-trodden path, like we've had very good movies in the last 20, 25 years come out that have dealt with slavery, you better do something like kind of interesting or different. And this was just, it just felt like a bad version of every slavery movie I've ever watched. And if they just like stolen some elements from all of those movies and been like, what was your favorite thing from 12 Years a Slave? All right, let's take those couple of beats and put them in this. Really
He
wasn't.
did he co-produced it. But that's disappointing to hear because one of my all-time favorite low-key actors is in it.
Who's that?
Ben Foster.
I don't know if I.
He's like probably the lead white guy in the movie. It would be my guess.
Oh, not the Wrexham goalkeeper?
No.
He is the guy who is hunting Will Smith. He's like the master slave hunter. And by that I mean master as in expert, not as in slave master, if you see what I mean. Although he is, I guess, technically both. But yeah, he is like the super villain of the movie, tracking Will Smith and his fellow escaped slaves down. But yeah, don't even bother watching it.
I mean, it's a famous director too. Guy who did Training Day.
Well, doesn't want to put this one on his show reel or CV.
It is funny sometimes when you look at directors and the movies they do, and how like sometimes the movies just don't make sense. Like for instance, Antoine Fuqua, who's the director, he did Training Day, Tears of the Sun, and then does King Arthur. Like,
hey, everyone's got to get the check.
And then like The Equalizer, Southpaw, The Magnificent Seven, Equalizer 2, like all these movies. He's got King Arthur and Shooter, the Mark Wahlberg movie. Like, it's kind of weird.
Oh, I have one final little sporting rant that I forgot about. Having mentioned the XFL when speaking about Paxton Lynch, the XFL championship game took place this weekend. In it, Luis Perez gave his speech pre-game. I saw the clip. ESPN were promoting it heavily, in which he said, "Let's finish the damn game, and we're world champs." Can you call yourself world champs if you win the XFL? Like, it's already a stretch. I'm not going to be one of those people who like makes fun of Super Bowl winners calling themselves world champions or NBA winners. Like, it doesn't. And we've already spoken previously about why the World Series is called the World Series, but that bit doesn't bother me so much because I think if you win the Super Bowl, you are on the American football team that won the highest sort of most, climbed the highest summit in your sport that year. But that's definitely not the case if you win the XFL. So how can you call yourself? That'd be like me if my team won the softball tournament this year, like being like, "Come on, guys! If we win this, we're softball world champs." Like, I know that there are technically
it's slightly closer because they are national teams that you play in.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's in many ways much closer, but
you're the Parisian world champion.
Yeah, you can't just winning a league doesn't automatically make you world champs. It bothered me. And again, I'm not trying to be one of those people who makes fun of Americans for calling themselves world champions for everything they win. That isn't the point. It's just you can't be. That's where the meaning of world champions is clearly completely lost, and it's just being used interchangeably with the idea of winning the league or competition that you're in.
That's pretty funny. But maybe what he wants to do is he wants to then maybe challenge the Chiefs. But XFL rules, none of that pussy NFL stuff.
Wow. I mean, the Chiefs would be an unfortunate one to challenge for the XFL rules, right? Because they would be extremely well suited to the changes in the XFL, right?
Yeah.
Like the ability to go for
Travis
three.
Kelce just go off on them.
Yeah, the ability to go for 3 points, the way they do the onside kick thing, they would just dominate that type of game. There'd be some reigning champs who it would be a little bit more of an issue.
All right. Well, I guess with that, we'll call it and conclude another edition of this World Champ podcast episode.
Sounds great.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
Cheerio.